pulled over. The city's police chief said today he will support criminal.
3 police officers facing felony criminal charges were among a group of 15 who stopped a 25-year-old black man last Saturday night.
Okay, so as you can see in this video, that this is like a police brutality case, and the man in the middle is named Rodney King. As you can see from the timestamp, it took place on March 3rd, 1991, and in this instance, 5 white police officers pulled him over for a normal traffic violation and proceeded to just beat him to no extent. And in the end, it ended with skull fractures, broken bones and teeth, and like lifelong brain damage was sustained. And the police didn't know that the tape was going on right now. It was actually just a concerned citizen trying out his video camera for the first time, who just happened to look outside the window and like see that this guy was getting really demolished. So anyways, when this happened, they released this video to the public, and there was just a bunch of public frustration with the whole situation because they did not believe that it was right, which it wasn't, for a regular man to just be beat by the police. And so because of the public frustration, they brought the officers to trial, and in doing so, they presented all the evidence, showed the end result of Rodney King and how badly he was beaten, showed the video, but the jury still came back with their verdict of not guilty for all the officers. And this is where things got like really sticky, because all the people of LA especially just went berserk after they heard the verdict and started rioting all over the city. It started out with just taking over, breaking into stores and stuff, but by day 2, it went on for 5 days, and by day 2, they were burning down skyscrapers and giant buildings, and really it was just a terrible event. And in the end, it's still known as the #1 biggest riots in the U.S. because there were over 12,000 people put in prison for rioting in just 5 days, as well as 2,000 people injured and 52 deaths. So those are like really substantial numbers for only 5 days of rioting. And so that's what happened to Rodney King, and how it affects us today. The government has changed immensely since then because of especially the LAPD, because back then their diversity was pretty much non-existent. They had over 70% of their police officers were Caucasian, and to help ensure that this doesn't happen again, they really changed those numbers and started hiring more people of minorities, such as Latinos, Asians, and especially women, to help represent the people, and so that the U.S. can better, make sure that everyone has a fair situation. They changed many other parts of the LAPD changed a lot of different things that they did, such as they took away their old police chief, who had been the police chief there for over 30 years, and because back then the police chiefs used to get tenure, which is just like when teachers at public school get tenure. Once you get it, it's really hard to fire someone. So now the police chiefs can only stay there for 5 years, like max, and then they have to go. They also looked into ways that the officers could make sure that brutality is not an everyday occurrence by making sure that the officers use less aggressive weapons. Like before, they were using batons and their feet and just wailing on the guy. Now they use like pepper spray and stuff. Where pepper spray just blinds a person temporarily, and they use tasers to just enable a person, and beanbag guns, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's like a gun but shoots beanbags at high velocities that it will hurt the person, but it won't like maim them or kill them. And and they also looked into every case whenever a police officer fires off a weapon, discharges their gun, or any case where a prisoner comes back and says, oh yeah, there was a case of police brutality when I was being arrested. They really look into those now, much more than they did in the past, because in the past, I mean, now they have like video cameras in their car, so you can see some of them, some, it's not, you know, very effective, but somewhat effective. And in more recent days, because of the issues that are going on in Ferguson, where young boy Michael Brown was shot and killed by a white police officer in Missouri. This happened about 3 weeks ago, and during, like, they had some peaceful protests, and there were riots that set out after that. So they're still like trying to reform their approach and take care of business. And one of their newest decisions or things that they're looking into is possibly putting video cameras on the police officers themselves, so then they can really make sure that everything is justified in a way that makes sense and is fair for everyone. But anyways, in Ferguson, there's the same public anger and cries of racism and rioting that happened during the Rodney King incidences. So the police department has come a really long way since then, though, and it's become a lot less, there have been a lot less encounters where police brutality has been really prevalent, and but they still have a really long way to go. So hopefully it can get better. Yeah.